Sergeant Ehlers' actions on D-Day were absolutely incredible. Coming home after the war as a hero and Medal of Honor recipient, he probably could have done anything for a career. But what he chose to do was continue his service as a Veteran Affairs advocate at the Department of VA. A close friend of Mr. Ehlers once told me a story that I found even more incredible than his heroic actions in Normandy. In 1964, the White House was planning to host a memorial service in recognition of the 20th anniversary of the D-Day landing, and they wanted to extend an invitation to Mr. Ehlers. So a White House rep called the VA hospital looking to try to get a hold of him. His colleagues at the VA were a bit surprised and asked Mr. Ehlers, why on earth is the White House calling you? So after returning home from the war, Walt went on to work at the VA for 20 years, and he never told any of his colleagues that he received the Medal of Honor. He never told anyone, and no one knew. So it's hard to imagine that happening today. Talk about just an unbelievable lesson for us in humility and in service to your country. So the most recent generation of returning veterans have been described as the next greatest generation. Personally, I feel it's a bit premature to label us as such. What made our grandparents the greatest generation wasn't only their heroic actions on the battlefields in Europe and across the Pacific, it was also their lasting contributions to our society after returning home from the war. Post 9/11 veterans have carried the burden of our nation's two longest wars simultaneously and have made unbelievable sacrifices that would certainly earn the respect of warriors from any generation. However, we are just getting started back here at home, and we still have a very long way to go before leaving behind a lasting legacy equal to that left behind by our grandparents. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, what do we want our legacy to be? Leaving behind a legacy doesn't mean building this huge empire or becoming famous in any way. Mr. Ehlers lived a very humble life as a public servant, and he dedicated himself to a mission that he was passionate about and one in which improved his community. It is incredibly important for returning veterans to take the time to think about how we will continue to serve our country back here at home. How can we take the unique skills that we learned fighting our nation's battles to make our communities better? What is most meaningful to us? How do we want to be remembered? How can we build and leave behind a lasting legacy for the next generation? Our grandparents are without a doubt the greatest generation. Walt Ehlers exemplified the courage and the selflessness that set that generation apart from all the rest. I like to think that we will become the next greatest, but we still have a very long way to go.